Okay, so these days we are focusing on particular sections of the Sadhana. So we did a review of them over the last 4 days. Today, being the 5th day, we're going to, we'll do one section. So we'll do the refuge field, refuge, and bodhicitta, and then we go to yoga 5. Okay, so that'll be this afternoon. So again, just remember, I mean, always try to, don't just start doing your prayers. Okay, so bring to mind someone that you love, that you really love, that you feel love in your heart. And then say, I'm doing this for them. And then because of love, there's a very nice feeling that comes. It's not like, oh, I've got to do it for them. It's such a demand on me. What about me? I want to be happy. It's not that. It's like you have to come from a feeling of love. And that's why it's important to pick someone you love, or even a pet. Some of us have pets in our lives. So, we have nothing but, most of us have nothing but incredible love for our pets. We're family almost. So I want to offer a more enlightened relationship to my pet. And with that, then I'm going to do the Vajra Yogini practice. And for the benefit of all sentient beings. In the space before me stands Guru, Chakrasambhara, and Vajra Yogini in union, surrounded by a host of root and lineage gurus, yidams, buddhas, bodhisattvas, dhakas, and dharma protectors. I, in the infinite space of all beings, take refuge in the glorious gurus from this moment until we reach enlightenment. We take refuge in the perfect Buddhas. We take refuge in the Dharma. We take refuge in the Sangha. I, in the infinite space of all beings, take refuge in the glorious gurus from this moment until we reach enlightenment. We take refuge in the perfect Buddhas. We take refuge in the Dharma. We take refuge in the Sangha. I, in the infinite space of all beings, take refuge in the glorious gurus from this moment until we reach enlightenment. We take refuge in the perfect Buddhas. We take refuge in the Dharma. We take refuge in the Sangha. Upon attaining the supreme realization of a Buddha, I shall free all beings from the endless round of suffering and shall deliver them to the bliss of enlightenment. For that I may practice the stages of Vajra Yogini's path. Upon attaining the supreme realization of a Buddha, I shall free all beings from the endless round of suffering and shall deliver them to the bliss of enlightenment. For that may I practice the stages of Vajra Yogini's path. Upon attaining the supreme realization of a Buddha, I shall free all beings from the endless round of suffering and shall deliver them to the bliss of enlightenment. For that may I practice the stages of Vajra Yogini's path. I bow down and take refuge in the gurus and the precious jewels. Please bless my mind stream. The refuge beings in the sky before me melt into white, red, and sky radiance, which dissolve into me, and I receive their blessings of body, speech, and mind. Pause for a moment and feel you get the full support of your gurus. Then you can do a very quick version of the death is Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakaya. Just basically you evaporate. And then in one instant from Dharmakaya, you immediately manifest. Instantly, I arise as the Venerable Vajra Yogini. Then we're going to just jump up to Yoga 5. In the space before me, and the naturally luminous of the wisdom of pure clarity, non-duality, stands a measureless crystal palace, square, four-doored, with ornaments of jeweled archways, perfect in all its features. In its center, a jeweled throne supported by 8 great lions, on lotus, moon, and sun cushions, sits my kind root guru, himself in the form of Buddha Vajra Dharma. His body is red with one face and 2 arms crossed at his heart, holding a Vajra bell. His hair is tied up in a royal topknot. He sits in cross-legged in the Vajra position. He is vibrant in the prime of his youth. He is adorned with silk scarves and gold and jeweled ornaments. From before the Guru, in a counterclockwise circle, stand all the ancestral gurus from the Buddha Vajra to the Guru. Each is in the form of hero Vajra Dharma, with a red body, 1 face, 2 arms, the right hand vibrating with the drum that echoes with the sight of the bliss void,
the left holding at the heart a small cup filled with nectar, the left arm crooking a katbanga. Each sits cross-legged in the Vajra position, adorned with the 6 bone ornaments, vibrant in the prime of the youth.
The main figure in each tent has Om at the forehead, Ah at the throat, and Om at the heart. From the moons at their hearts, light rays emanate, drawing forth their natural abodes to the gurus, idams,
a host of mandala deities,
Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, heroes, dakinis,
together with hosts of Dharma protectors and guardians.
Om Vajra Samaja Ja Hum Bam Ho. Each becomes a reality comprising all refuges. O Guru Vajra holder, your body allows me to reach the great state of bliss. I bow at your lotus feet. The offering goddesses emanate from my heart and worship all the offerings. Om Aragam Praticha Hun Soha. Om Bhadyam Praticha Hun Soha. Om Vajra Pushpe Ahun Soha. Om Vajra Dube Ahun Soha. Om Vajra Gende Ahun Soha. Om Vajra Niwende Ahun Soha. In the Sadhana of 209, there is a missing offering here. Om Vajra Artishe Hum. Om Vajra Gande Hum. Om Vajra Rase Hum. Om Vajra Sparse Hum. Om Vajra Dharme Hum. Om Guru Vajra Dharma Savare Vare Om Ahum. I offer consorts fair and beautiful, a host of dakas and dakinis, born of place, mantra, and simultaneously, having graceful and slender figures, aglow with radiant youthful vibrance, skilled in the 64 arts of love. I offer the void sphere of all things, supreme ultimate bodhicitta, beyond all words, thoughts, and expressions, spontaneous, indivisible, free of notions of true existence, pristine clearness, unified with bliss. Okay, we're going to do it all, then we'll come back and talk a little bit. I take refuge in the 3 jewels. I confess all my downfalls individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all beings. I take to heart the enlightenment of the Buddhas. I take refuge until my enlightenment in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. To best fulfill the purpose of myself and others, I generate the enlightened motive of bodhicitta. Having generated the motive for supreme enlightenment, I invite all sentient beings as my guests. I shall treat them pleasingly with supreme enlightened conduct. I shall attain Buddhahood to benefit all. I take refuge in the 3 jewels. I confess all my downfalls individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all beings. I take to heart the enlightenment of the Buddhas. I take refuge until my enlightenment in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. To best fulfill the purpose of myself and others, I generate the enlightened motive of bodhicitta. Having generated the motive for supreme enlightenment, I invite all sentient beings as my guests. I shall treat them pleasingly with supreme enlightened conduct. I shall attain Buddhahood to benefit all. I take refuge in the 3 jewels. I confess all my downfalls individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all beings. I take to heart the enlightenment of the Buddhas. I take refuge until my enlightenment in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. To best fulfill the purpose of myself and others, I generate the enlightened motive of bodhicitta. Having generated the motive for supreme enlightenment, I invite all sentient beings as my guests. I shall treat them pleasingly with supreme enlightened conduct. I shall attain Buddhahood to benefit all. My mind, the queen of dakinis, a thumbnail size, emerges from my crown, faces my guru, and then returns. Slicing off the skull of my old body, I turn it over. Then upon it, a human trichipon that appears. I chop up the flesh, blood, and bones, heap it all within the skull cup, and with blazing wide-eyed stare, purify, transmute, and magnify this into an ocean of nectar. Om Ahum Ha Ho Hri. Om Ahum Haho Hri. Om Ahum Haho Hri. So we have an offering. From my heart center, innumerable goddesses emanate holding skull cups. With these skull cups, they scoop up the nectar and offer it to the guests, who partake of it by drawing out through the tongue through straws of lead. To the root guru, actuality of the four bodies, I offer this nectar of finest ingredients. May they be pleased. Om Ahum, Om Ahum, Om Ahum, Om Ahum, Om Ahum, Om Ahum, Om Ahum. To the source of Siddhi, the lineage gurus, I offer this nectar of finest ingredients. May they be pleased. Om Ahum. To the hosts of gurus, deities, three jewels, and protectors, I offer this nectar of finest ingredients. May they be pleased. Om Ahum. To the subtly present local spirits of local sites, I offer this nectar of finest ingredients. May they help me 1,000-fold. Om Ahum. To all the seeings of the 6 forms in the bardo, I offer the nectar of finest ingredients. May they all be liberated. Om Ahum. By this nectar, all the guests are satisfied with stainless bliss.
All beings obtain the unobstructed body of truth itself. The 3 offerings, surpassing word, thought, and expression, they become the indivisible bliss and joy.
Okay, pause there. So I'd like us to go back to the Guru Yoga. So remember that allow you to use your imagination. No, it can be, to be sincere, the best is you memorize the sadhana. I mean, really honestly. But, you know, if, for example, maybe the long one's too difficult, but you could memorize the shorter one. You know, I think it's only like 8 pages or 9 pages long. But memorizing it just makes it so much easier. You don't have to look at anything. I guess if somebody wanted to, they could read it out, you know, record it and then play it back, and then, you know, and pause at certain points to allow themselves to fully meditate. It's sort of like they're being led by their own voice with the recording. But really what you want is to have it all in your own mind. You know, I'm not challenging you, but for example, I mean, I can do all my prayers, the whole Yamataka Sadhana I can do in the dark, memorize it. So I can go to you know, if I wanted to, I could go to a cemetery and sit down and do all my prayers and not have to worry about having to, you know, light a candle and anything like that. But again, I'm just saying that it would be good if you can memorize. Okay, so if you memorize, then what you do is you can just go into your imagination so much more. You know, like again, I'll use the example. I'm in front of the Bodhi tree in Buddha Gaya, but I make it very expansive. You know, I do have the stupa and the Bodhi tree, and then in front of that, I could have Buddha Vajra Dharma, or then, you know, make it that there's this huge palace there. And then there's a very large platform inside of the palace. The central throne in the very middle, supported by 8 lions, is Buddha Vajra Dharma, which is inseparable with my guru. And then there's the sort of, I call it a spiral going from Vajra Yogini and Naropa, sort of spirals around, and then finally comes with your root guru again in front of you. Remember that Buddha Vajra Dharma is 16 years old, so to speak, or full of youth. The lineage gurus are all 20 years old because they're a little bit older. And then it comes to your root guru in front of you. And he again, or he or she, if it's a girl, woman, then is again 16 years old. Then they all have Om Ahum. Then the visualization you create is sort of hollow. It's called the commitment beings. Then you send out light from your heart that touches all of your guru's consciousness and makes them wake up that you are doing this practice. And also then all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions become aware of it. And then they come as a sort of a flow of wisdom energy, wisdom consciousness, and that enters into your hollow visualization and it becomes alive. Om Guru Samaya, Om Vajra Samaya, Jahum Om Ho, each becomes the comprising all objects of refuge. Then the prostration, that's good, they're there. Then you do the 8 offerings, Aragam, Bhajum, Buspe, Dube, Alape, Gende, Newande, Shapta. And remember that in the Sadhana of the 2009, it's missing the line Gende, so my mistake, sorry.
Then you offer the 5 sense consciousnesses and the mental consciousness, 6. So that's our Ardeshe, Vini, Gande, Rasa, Sparse, Dharme. And then you offer the inner offerings. So now you've offered outer offerings. You go Om Guru Vajra Dharma Sabharwari Om Ahom, that's the inner offering. Then you offer the secret offering, which is the Dakinis. Then you offer, well, secret and wisdom offering is that. And then you offer the secret offering, which is your ultimate offering, which is the void sphere of all things. Then you come back and you do the refuge prayers. Now, again, when you're doing it reciting with a group of people, of course, it goes a little bit fast, but you can slow down when you're doing it on your own, and then pause with each of these ones and sort of allow yourself to fully sort of visualize. I mean, we did the Vajra practice this morning, and there was lots of time to really just get into Vajra practice rather than just muttering the 21 mantras and just sort of moving on really quickly. So although doing a Leerung, a mantra retreat and to fire ritual allows you to say, well, to do other activities and fire rituals in the future. In one way, it's a shame because it sort of comes down to just reciting, mantras to get the 100,000 and then an extra 10,000 for the wisdom rain mantra. So most of, and again in Mexico, most of my students have done the Leerung, the 100,000 thing. They did it as a working retreat. Means is they did a minimum of 1 session a day, maybe did 2 or 3 on the weekend, and that way they accumulated the 100,000 and then a 10,000 wisdom, and then we did the fire ritual. So all of that was good, and so they've done that. So when we return to Mexico, when I will do self-initiations together, and as I said earlier, I know of quite a few groups that like every soak day, the Bharma Sandava day and soak day, they do self-initiations if you have the time. Okay, so meditating on the different components when you're on your own and sort of getting more feeling. So for example, when you did the Kusali offering and the little skull cup pops out and stuff like that, I explained the elaborate visualization you do with Buddha Shakyamuni, Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, Vajrapani, all sentient beings. And then when you do the Om Home to them, I mean, certain groups of them get it. And then finally at the knees, you do the other group. Those things, if you're familiar, comes to mind. So as a beginner, it might be, so much to do. But that's where, so at the beginning, spend time, get familiar. And then the visions can come and go and come and go. You might say, why? Well, if you are being a bodhisattva and you like to help sentient beings, there has to be versatility and to some extent spontaneity. So, let's say you're with somebody who, to say is very attached, then you just sort of spontaneous. You have to be able to invoke your own feelings of detachment or what's important at the end of my life, how I've related to my material possessions, my relationships with my body, so what's really important. So if you invoke that, just quickly as you're talking to somebody, there's a feeling about it, so that's, you could say being a bodhisattva and manifesting realizations in the presence of people who need that sort of feeling, along with skillful words and such. Remember, always our altruism is qualified by intelligence. So a lot of these things, there really are the accumulation of merit, but they're an exercise for you to generate experiences and realizations within your own mind stream. And when you've done that, and then you talk to somebody, you could say rather spontaneously, they arise because of familiarity. So anyway, that's just the thought about this. So again, we're doing it a bit fast. Again, you might find that, that you'd like to do it a little slower in your own personal time. I'd like us to do the meditation now. So, okay, so again, allow your imagination to work. I am inside of an incredibly huge crystal palace. It's self-luminous, beautiful, and maybe in the space up in the sky is Dakinis, flittering about, scattering flower petals and such. Maybe there's rainbow lights, going through the room. It's bliss and happiness. It's bodhicitta. Then there's a very large platform in the center. The very center has a big throne with lions and such around the outside edge, meaning the Buddha Vajra Dharma is fearless. So that's the meaning. And it's funny when you do really put a lion, like if you do it as 4 lions around each side, you say, "Ooh, that's a very, very incredible being on that throne." So make it a little bit more real for yourself. Then immediately in front of Buddha Vajra Dharma, then is Vajra Yogini. She's on a slightly smaller throne. And then a little bit to her left side, so that would be going to your right side, would be Naropa. And then it can be a spiral. So it goes all the way around to all the gurus coming down to being again right in front of you, the spiral. And there's your root guru again. So you have, and he's on a littler throne. So you have Buddha Vajra Dharma in the middle, and then closer to you, you have the Vira Vajra Dharma, which is again your root guru. And then they have Oma Home, they send light rays. So they are hollow with you, and you just generate them. And then you invite by your faith and such that the consciousness of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and the Vajradakinis and everybody enters into them, and it becomes inseparable, and they all become objects of refuge. Now, something is, as you sit there with that, have them looking at you and they like you. I mean, you could start it off with it, maybe there's sort of a, "Who are you?" But then you have to turn it around to say that they totally like you. So Buddha Vajra Dharma in the very middle likes you, supports you. Vajrayogini, Naropa, they're actually looking at you. You can see their eyes looking at you. And then all of the lineage lamas, the Pumping brothers, and all of the great Sakyapa masters, and down to the great Galupa masters, down to Tricha Rinpoche and such. And finally, your root guru. And they're actually looking at you. And you are Vajrayogini. And they like you. And then again, I mean, not doing the prayers, just use your imagination, feel it from your heart, then comes out offering goddesses to all of the 38 or 39 gurus in the lineage. And they come out, multiples, and they make offerings, water for their mouth, water for their feet, flowers, incense, light, food, and music. And then mirrors, musical instruments, perfume, food, cloth, and then the reality, the 6 sense consciousness, 6 sense offerings. And then you do the inner offering, which is the bliss and voids. You touch your inner offering and flick it, and you feel they all get a thrill of bliss and voidness in their nervous system. You're offering that. And again, if you do it well, it's self-blessing, because your consciousness is able to generate those feelings. Like they did have, bliss in their mouth, bliss in their feet, flowers, incense, etc. They did have blissful eyes, blissful ears, blissful nose, blissful tongue, blissful body, blissful consciousness. And then they got the thrill of the inner offering. They got that. So when you feel it, if you think they got it, it means you're generating it within yourself. That's self-blessing. Then you can send out Dakinis, consorts, they merge. The female deities all go into the male guru lineage. And for Vajrayogini, of course, Heruka goes into her. And they absorb in and they feel great bliss. You could say they go into union, or they just absorb in. And then they experience the great bliss, secret offering. And then the whole of the environment you appreciate as being empty of independent self-existence. So it's still appearing. You can call that relative perspective on the nature of reality, because phenomena still appear, but you completely appreciate they're empty of any inherent self-existence. In the afternoon or the evening sessions tonight, we're going to review the schools of philosophy in a really light way, but it'll be very interesting for you. So anyway, so your Vajragini, in front of all of them, you just offer the wisdom offering. Then you do the, we could say Bodhisattva vow. I take refuge in, Buddha Dharma, or in the three jewels. I confess all my downfalls individually. And when you do that again, I mean, it's spending some time, and you say, okay, I don't hide anything about who I am. And the things that I would be embarrassed about, that you would know you, the Buddha Vajradhara, Buddha Vajradharma, I'm not embarrassed because I don't want to repeat them. That's your four opponent powers. So I often think it's really important to be able to be that transparent to Buddha Vajradharma and all the gurus. You don't need to go and tell your gurus all of the things that went on that you might have done, but just have that ability to say, I'm open. I don't hide anything. Remember, the Tibetan word for confession is crack open, to be very open. It's the actual word shakva. Then I rejoice in all virtues. When someone opens the door of a store for another person to step in, I rejoice at that. That's nice. That's rejoicing. Or someone driving their car pauses their car so you can walk across the street. I rejoice that that person had that patience to do that. That's kindness. That's a virtue. And any other form of goodwill that you might see, rejoice. Like, hey, that's nice. I like that. That's really reinforcing your own niceness, so to speak. And then just as all the Buddhas have generated bodhicitta, and they became enlightened, so do I. And in doing that, I take refuge Buddha Dharma Sangha to benefit myself and others. I generate the peerless, wonderful thought, altruistic thought of bodhicitta. And having generated bodhicitta, I invite all sentient beings as my guests. I'll treat them with supreme enlightened conduct, and I'll attain Buddhahood enlightenment for the benefit of all. Letting yourself go through those feelings and emotions and those words, it's a blessing in your consciousness. And you do that 3 times, or you do it once as you wish, just feeling you're being witnessed for who you are. Then you do the kusali offering. So you take your old form and you chop it up, and then you bless it and consecrate it, and then you offer it to the root gurus, to the lineage gurus, to the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Avalokiteshvara, Manjushri. Then you offer it to the local spirits. Then you offer it to all of the sentient beings. And what you're offering when you do that is your Dharma practice. The kusali is that, as you follow the mind training techniques, it's all the things that I experience are my path. So bring all experiences into the path. And all sentient beings and yourself, they all feel great bliss, and they'll go to the Pure Lands or whatever you want to think. So I just reviewed it up to that point before the mandala offering. So if you have the Sadhana in front of you, maybe go back to the beginning of the Yoga 5, just look at it and then close your eyes and try to develop the imagination. What you can do after 2 or 3 months or a year worth of doing practice, that these visions come so easily to you. So you are, for example, in Bodh Gaya in front of the Bodhi tree, but it's this incredibly beautiful, celestial palace, and all the Buddha, Vajra, Dharma, and all the other ones around there. And you feel that really the consciousness of your gurus comes and enters into your visualization. So they all become alive and they all turn their attention to you. They're interested in what you have to say and do. And then you make offerings, outer, inner, secret, suchness offerings. You do the prayer of the Bodhisattva. You do the Kusali. As it said at the beginning of the teachings yesterday, the Guru Yoga is such an easy way to accumulate merit. Remember, all of this, if you can generate even a little bit of the feeling of what any one of those offerings or prayers mean, it's self-blessing. So it's not like, yes, we are devoted and inspired by the gurus, absolutely. But we are responsible for ourselves to becoming enlightened. So I'll leave you to reflect on whatever part of this part of the Guru Yoga practice that you'd like to. Okay, so we'll continue with the practice. The next section is the offering of mandala. Om Vajra Bhumi Ahom, the golden ground of power. Om Vajra Reiki Ahom, the Azure mountain wall and Mount Zermu in the center, the four continents and subcontinents. In the east, the treasure mountain. In the south, the wish granting tree. In the west, the wish granting cow. In the north, natural harvest. Here is the precious wheel, the precious queen, the precious minister, the precious elephant, the precious best horses, the precious general, the great treasure vase. Here is the goddess of beauty, the goddess of garlands, the goddess of incense, the goddess of light, the goddess of perfume. Here is the sun and moon, the precious umbrella, the banner of universal triumph. And in the center, all of the treasures of gods and men, the magnificent collection lacking in nothing. I offer you to, O glorious holy gurus, out of compassion accepted for the sake of all beings, and then please bestow on me your blessings. This mandala of the jewels of A's treasure, along with sun and moon, made of my aggregates, elements, and sense media, objects of bliss and wisdom, I give to you, O Savior, treasure of compassion. All of the objects of my mind's three poisons, coveted friend, foe, and stranger, body, wealth, worldly pleasures, without a feeling of loss, we surrender. Receive them, please, and free all beings from their bondage. Yedam Guru Rana Mandala Kamnir Tayami. Okay, now we do the prayer of the lineage gurus. So starting in the middle with Vajra Dharma. O Vajra Dharma, Lord of the families of the victors. O Vajra Yogini, Supreme Consort of the victors. O Naropa, Lord of the Buddha's sons, I pray to you, please grant ecstatic wisdom. O pumping brothers who hold the teachings of the great secret. O Sherab say, storos of all the treasures. O Malasawa, Lord of the secret mantra ocean, I pray to you, please grant the ecstatic wisdom. O great Guru Sakya Kunda Ningbo, Vajra Dara, hold the whole age of them Chemo, Supreme Vajra's son, O Gerpa Galson, crown jewel of the Vajra holders, I pray to you, please grant the ecstatic wisdom. O great Sakya Kunga Galson, Lord of the three shoulders, O Sochan Chodya Papa, crown jewel of the three realm beings, O Shangchan George, holder of the Sakya teachings. I pray to you, please grant the great ecstatic wisdom. O Nasatropopa, Lord of Gurus, O Jepan Choje, established and sage. O Yarlumba, Lord of the Adam's oral tradition, I pray to you, please grant ecstatic wisdom. O Galwa Chok, Savior of the self and other beings, Jamian, great Lord, O Choji, Lord J. Cousin, great Sound Master, Dharma Lord, I pray to you, please grant ecstatic wisdom. O Dharma, Doringba, unequaled in kindness, O Master Sarian Losel, who achieved the Guru's precepts, O Mala Kensei, sacred word transmission of great secret keeper, I pray to you, please grant the great ecstatic wisdom. O Losan Gelson, holder of the mantra sciences, to glorious Wangshan Rabdan, Lord of the 100 towns, O holy Kargyupa, Lord of the Buddha families, I pray to you, please grant the ecstatic wisdom. O Sharlupa, total Lord of the oceans of Mandalas, to Kendra J, Lord of all the Mandalas, to Morchempa, Lord of the machine of Mandalas, I pray to you, please grant the ecstatic wisdom. Nosarapa, captain of the ocean of oral tradition, O Losam Punso, Lord Master of the oral transmission, Tenzing Trinley, sage who increase those oral teachings, I pray to you, please grant the ecstatic wisdom. To Lord Karupa, upholder of the Gadan lineage, to Garden Darge, friend of the beings of the dark age, O Dharma Bhadra, hero of the Gadan tradition, I pray to you, please grant the ecstatic wisdom. To Lojan Choge, Lord of the Sutra and Tantra, skilled of the keys of the Sutra and Tantric paths, Jigme Wampo, sage who glorified the Sutra and Tantra, I pray to you, please grant the ecstatic wisdom. To Dechen Ningbo, blessed by Naropa, who like Naropa taught us well the keys of the good paths of development and deliverance, to the heavenly Naropa Dakini, I pray to you, please grant ecstatic wisdom. To Losang Yeshi, Vajra holder treasure of the ripening and freeing teachings of the Vajra Queen, the supreme great path to the Vajra exaltation. I pray to you, please grant the great wisdom. By the power of meditating profound creation stage, Dakini Yoga and perfection stages, channel yoga,
Please give me the son to receive this of great bliss wisdom and attain the exaltation
of the King of Heaven.
O Guru, who incorporates all Buddhas, I pray to you, please bless me. Please anoint me fully with the four initiations and grant the exaltation of the four bodies. O Guru, who incorporates all Buddhas, I pray to you, please bless me. Please anoint me fully with the four initiations and grant me the exaltation of the four bodies. O Guru, who incorporates all Buddhas, I pray to you, please bless me. Please grant me fully with the four initiations and grant me the exaltation of the four bodies. My Guru's brow, Om, radiates white rays of nectar. They dissolve into my forehead. They purify the physical obscurations. I attain the base initiation. My Guru's body blessing enters my body. Pause for a while there. Remember, this initiation purifies your 5 skandhas, your 5 aggregates. And you can visualize yourself as Vajra. My Guru's throat, radiates red nectar light rays. They dissolve into my throat. They purify my verbal obscurations. I attain the secret initiations. The blessings of my Guru's speech enter my speech. Feel all the nerves and channels and chakras of your body are cleaned and purified, and the negativities of speech are purified. My Guru's heart, whom radiates dark blue nectar rays of light. They dissolve into my heart. They purify my mental obscurations. I attain the wisdom, intuition, initiation. Blessings of the Guru's enter my mind. With this, you experience the great bliss in that purified nervous system and in the aspect of being Vajrayogini, appreciating the nature of reality. My Guru's 3 letters radiate white, red, and dark blue nectar rays of light. They dissolve into my 3 places. They purify my physical, verbal, and mental obscurations. I attain the 4th initiation, the precious word initiation. The blessings of my Guru's body, speech, and mind enter my body, speech, and mind. I pray to the precious Guru, actuality of all the past, present, and future Buddhas. Please bless my mind stream. I pray to the precious Guru, actuality of all past, present, and future Buddhas. Please bless my mind stream. I pray to the precious Guru, actuality of the past, present, and future Buddhas. Please bless my mind stream. Having thus prayed, the encircling lineage Gurus dissolve into my root Guru in the center. Then my root Guru as well, out of his love for me, melts into red light and enters through the crown of my heart, his central transforms into a red bomb, which merges indistinguishably with my mind. So again, then just feel that you get the full 100% support of all of your teachers. This evening, we will conclude the teaching of the Guru Yoga. So there is a bit of visualization there, but basically at this point, feel all the lineage gurus and particularly your root guru, they dissolve into you. So remember, you are Vajrayogini, your body is hollow. The level of your heart in the center of your chest, the double stack reality source. And on a moon cushion in the center of that is a syllable bomb.
So today that concludes the meditations of your yoga. And just a very light review of doing the practice. So again, dedicate that for all the effort I've been involved in the last 5 days, actually 7 days since Friday night when I started, took the first initiation till today, which is the 8th day. I dedicate all to becoming more enlightened. And may I offer a more enlightened relationship to all sentient beings. May all of our gurus live very long, healthy lives, helping us with the Dharma. And may the world have peace. Okay, so thank you very much. We'll be giving the commentary tonight.